Back to that breaking news. A police sergeant is at shock trauma after being wounded in a shooting in northeast Baltimore. Tonight, the mayor and police commissioner are at the hospital where that officer is being treated. This video was taken just about 30 minutes ago of that officer arriving there at shock trauma. Now, the scene happened in the 5500 block of Summerfield Avenue. That's in northeast Baltimore in the Frankford area near the Sedonia neighborhood, a quiet neighborhood for all intents and purposes. Keith Daniels is live at the scene of that shooting in northeast Baltimore. And Keith, you've been speaking with people who live in the area about what happened this afternoon. And Keith, as we await this update from police, I know there is very little suspect information at this point. They haven't released any, but what are you hearing from witnesses at this point? All right, Keith, thank you so much. It sounds like this police officer was just standing outside of his house when all of this happened. We, of course, are waiting on that press conference from the Baltimore City Police as well as the mayor. Hopefully we'll get that in a few moments over at shock trauma. But we'll check back in with you in just a little while, Keith, and we'll check back in with Jeff Abel, who is live at shock trauma, as soon as he gets new information. Meanwhile, we want to turn to weather and update what our weather's going to be this evening, as we have, of course, a big Ravens preseason game tonight, Ashley.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Ashley. We want to recap our top story here. Breaking news: an officer wounded in a shooting in northeast Baltimore. This is a live look outside shock trauma where that officer was taken just within the last hour. We hope to have an update coming up shortly. Stay with Fox 45 News for the latest information.
But I don't think you should force a child to have their ears pierced. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kai. I remember when I was 8 years old and it was my 8th birthday and I was so excited to go get my ears pierced. And I feel like that should be the experience for most kids. They should be able to choose and be excited about it. And then, the pain comes with it, and that's a bummer. But, it's not like getting a shot. It's not like getting something that you have to have. Yeah, and in those cases, I have had to physically restrain my sons, who are surprisingly strong. And the mom guilt that comes with that is enough. And I can't imagine the mom guilt in something cosmetic or elective.
Absolutely.
So I think that the employee did the right thing, and I'm glad that Claire's is reviewing that policy.
That's a really good point you bring up too, Joy.
And there were no injuries to report, so that's the good news here, but it is creating a traffic nightmare out there.
It is indeed.
Right, and they are out on the scene investigating. Joy LaPolla also out there with a vantage point that we want to see right now. So, Joy, what are you seeing from where you are? Now, the good news here is that we are hearing that they were not containing anything hazardous. There are no injuries to report. And as far as transportation on the train lines go, out of the Penn Line service, MARC and Amtrak, no impacts on those services. MTA is reporting, though, that there could be minor delays to the Camden Line MARC trains. But, of course, traffic in your vehicle is a nightmare getting around the area. Now, we want to begin our live team coverage this hour with Joy LaPolla. She is down there on the scene with a look at those cars that have gone all over the bridge there. Joy, what are you seeing right now, and what's the latest that you're hearing? Alexa Ashwell standing by live at the staging area near the derailment with new details from city fire officials. Alexa. Thank you so much. And, of course, a DPW tweeted just moments ago that there is no residual effect on the Jones Falls waterway, one of those precautions that they were taking earlier. Now, we will bring you more coverage of this derailment throughout the show. You can also get the latest information on our website, foxbaltimore.com. Well, there's also breaking news out of Washington. President Trump has issued his first veto since taking office, overruling a resolution passed by the Senate to end his emergency declaration to build a border wall. The president sent out a one-word tweet saying veto after 12 Republicans joined Democrats to block his plan. The Republicans that rebelled say it's not about the wall, it's about the Constitution.
Police believe it was a neighbor who opened fire on the child and his mother.
That child is in critical but stable condition right now after being shot at a playground in South Baltimore. His mother was hit by a bullet as well and is in serious condition tonight.
Kathleen Cairns tells us police have made an arrest, but the motive behind the shooting is a mystery.
Baltimore City Police have arrested a friend of the family in connection with the death of a 2-year-old boy. 26-year-old Jeremiah Amos is in custody tonight. Back on January 27th, police were called to a home on West Fayette Street for a report of a child that wasn't breathing. He was rushed to the hospital but did not survive. Medical examiners say the child died from blunt force trauma. Amos was arrested on March 8th. All right, thank you, Joy. Again, this is happening in the 1900 block of Falls road, so a very populated and traveled area.
And they're really fortunate. These cars, on average, empty, weigh about 30 tons. When they're loaded down with freight, chemicals, a single car can weigh as much as 100 tons or more. So they're very fortunate that these weren't loaded down with a lot of supplies.
And important to note that there was one car that was struck, one vehicle struck by the cars when they went off the bridge there. The driver, though, appears to be uninjured, so that's the good news there. But they are looking at that car and seeing the extent of the damage there. So let's check in with Chardell Moore right now. She has a look at the roads out there and, of course, a mess around the area, Chardell. Right, Chardell, thank you. And we will, of course, bring you more coverage of this train derailment throughout the newscast. You can also get the latest information on our website. That, of course, is foxbaltimore.com.
We have breaking news right now from Baltimore happening at the Inner Harbor.
John Rydell is live on the scene after reports of a body in the water. John. All right, thank you, John. DNA on tobacco pipes found by archaeologists, uncovering an historic connection.
Brad Bell from our sister station in Washington, D.C. has this story. And it is free. We'd love to see you out there.
Yeah, and we'll be out there tomorrow. I know Ashley and I will be there around 1 o'clock in the afternoon till it ends at 4. And nice. Kai, what time will you be there?
10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
10 o'clock.
Okay.
Yep,
right when it starts.
So we have the whole day covered for you.
Yes.
But yeah, and everybody from the newsroom, most of our reporters and anchors will be out there. So if you'd like to come out and say hi, we'd love to meet you.
Fun event.
Beautiful day today, but the weather is changing.
The weather.
All right, thanks, Ashley. Baltimore's business community delivers a blow to Mayor Pugh. Some of the most influential members of the business community are calling on the mayor to resign.
Jeff Abel is live down.
Jeff, thank you. Today's announcement by the GBC is just the latest in the growing chorus of public and private entities calling for Mayor Pugh to step down. In addition to the Greater Baltimore Committee, the Baltimore City Council, with the exception of acting Mayor Jack Young, who did not vote, has called for the mayor's resignation. All 16 members of Baltimore's delegation to the House of Delegates echoed that request. Maryland Comptroller Peter Franchot was among the first to call on the mayor to step down. And earlier this week, the editorial board of the Baltimore Sun published their loss of faith in the mayor to effectively carry out her duties. Well, she's been described at times as a lightning rod on Capitol Hill for her often controversial comments. And now another passionate debate over the words of Congresswoman Ilhan Omar regarding 9/11. Chief political correspondent Scott Thuman has reaction from both sides. He's seen plenty of political scandals and setbacks on the state and national levels. So what does former Lieutenant Governor Michael Steele have to say about Mayor Pugh's ethics and problems? Well, hear his thoughts on the scandal at City Hall.
There's definitely some foul play going on in one Massachusetts neighborhood. Why one woman is feeling particularly henpecked.
But first, a trio of women get caught with their pants down, literally, and lead police on a wild and dangerous chase. See how it played out when the News at 10 returns. Baltimore fed up. Residents chase down a gunman. The violent attacks that have safety concerns rising, along with the death toll. More rain, more problems. Flooding troubles continue. Why the storm drain system built for your safety was full of trash instead. A crustacean invasion. What caused this massive cast of crabs to rise up out of the sand?
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 10.
4 breaking news stories to begin the news at 10 o'clock tonight. This night has turned very violent. We have live team coverage. We want to begin with Keith Daniels. He is at the scene of a shooting investigation in Northwest Baltimore that may have turned deadly. Keith. There's more breaking news in West Baltimore tonight. Another shooting on a night when City Council questioned the police commissioner about the violence in Baltimore. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell is live in West Baltimore along Mosher Street. And Alexa, what can you tell us about what happened tonight? Alexa, thank you. Tweets from President Trump calling Baltimore dirty, rat-infested, and one of the most violent places in the country, targeted Congressman Elijah Cummings' leadership. Representative Cummings spoke about the controversy in Washington, D.C. today. And it really was a beautiful ceremony, very touching, almost 4 hours long. But everybody who got up there and spoke had such beautiful words to say about the congressman, talking about his integrity and the challenge that he wants to give future generations to do something. You're looking at the screen right now where you can see former Vice President Joe Biden still there, greeting people and talking, of course, about Elijah Cummings, who was a dear friend of his. Yeah, and it was just interesting to hear all the beautiful words that everybody had to say about him. Former President Barack Obama said that once you're elected office, you're considered honorable. People call you honorable. But he said that Elijah Cummings was honorable far before he was elected to office and lived that truth and lived that life.
That's what I got from those who spoke today. He was a public servant, and he was a man of faith.
Yeah, and he was an incredible father. From all accounts, his daughter went up there and spoke, Jennifer Cummings, and that was one of the more emotional points, I think, of the service. She spoke about her incredible relationship with her father and that it was a very special father-daughter relationship. They would even, to this day, as a 37-year-old woman, have sleepovers with her father where they would just talk all night. You can see his casket leaving New Psalmist Baptist Church right now. They are having a private reception after this, but you know, just a beautiful, beautiful service. And one of the things that Jennifer, his daughter, was speaking about, she called him a confidant and a friend, and she talked about lessons about loving herself, loving her skin color, and loving the woman that she was going to become and make a difference in society by loving herself and teaching others to do that. And that's one of the messages that he imparted upon her. And one of the lasting messages that I think that we all got from him was just the idea to never let anybody tell you that you're not good enough. And that was a lot of the message that we heard from his friends and family there today. Yeah, and a lot of talk today about that booming voice. Of course, that's what is most commonly associated with Congressman Cummings, is that loud, deep voice. And one of the interesting things I thought somebody said was that it wasn't just about his booming voice. His voice spoke for those who had no voice. And I think that is evident if you go into South Baltimore. People there feel like they knew him and that he was a man of the people and really tried to make their lives better and everybody's lives better across the country. Incredibly. And one of the things that Hillary Clinton said when she was up there speaking, she said that he stood against corrupt leadership. His philosophy was simple. Do something. Get out there and do something. Be a positive change for the world. And one of the things here, you're looking outside of New Psalmist Baptist Church as Congressman Elijah Cummings' funeral has just ended. And you can see, look at that incredible crowd there. One of the things that the bishop had mentioned was that they had the incredible auditorium was filled with people. They tried not to turn anyone away, but we saw videos of people out there this morning who actually couldn't make it in, and instead of going in, they stood out there and they started singing, and they started singing for Elijah Cummings and for his family and for the incredible mark that they left on that he left on their lives. And so it was a celebration of life even outside of the funeral service, which was pretty incredible there.
And you see, but this is going to conclude our time, Joy. And of course, you and I will come back with more on Fox 45 News at 4 and 5.
Yes, absolutely. So join us then. We'll have a full recap of today's service.